Hey, what's up, Bitget?
Welcome back to the EAM Crypto channel and to episode number 25 of the upcoming weekly preview. We have a lot to cover today. I'm going to try to make the video kind of short. First, we're going to start off with a clip that I'm going to show you where someone that just got elected into the Senate, he was asked what he was going to do about the interest rates and what's happening with trying to combat hyperinflation possibly, and you are going to be blown away by his answer. We can talk about it after the video, but we need to do a better job of electing folks into Senate and into the House that actually understand what to do with some of these very, very complicated issues that we're dealing when it comes to the macro and interest and all sorts of things. Also, we're going to talk about Solana. I'm going to do a little bit of a deep dive into Solana in regards to fundamentals a little bit. Yeah, we're going to discuss from a TA perspective a little bit, but not that much. We're going to compare Solana to other chains. I'm going to show you a couple different ways where we can maybe try to figure out how low it can go. And if you are a Solana moon boy or moon girl, you got to watch this video. You're not going to like what I have to show you. You're not going to like it at all, but you got to check it out because, yeah, there's a lot to uncover with Solana. Is it dead? Is it going to survive? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And then we're going to look at just a couple of things that will kind of guide us as far as the next week goes. Things could get really, really ugly next week. We have DCG trying to figure out a way to raise that $1 billion as far as I've seen from what I've heard. And I've actually talked to a couple of people that seem to have been tracking this very, very closely. They state that they haven't even gotten close. No one wants to touch the situation with Genesis, and then on top of that we have the hacker or SBF or Bahamian government, whoever it is, loading more and more sell pressure with that ETH that they've been dumping, that they started dumping this morning. So let's get into today's show. There's a lot to cover.
Well, let's talk about inflation because that's a big concern for voters. What do you think the biggest cause of inflation is, and should the Biden administration be doing more?
No, I just do. I think that simply is also, Leah, let's talk about the trillions in massive tax cuts to the corporate tax structure as well. True. Trillions of dollars that have added to the deficit, and now they still want to support those as well. True. I think in terms of being very serious about addressing inflation is making sure that those rates are brought back into a line with what they should have been, where they're able to fight the deficit.
All right, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about this guy Fetterman or however you pronounce his last name, but he clearly has no clue, absolutely no clue. We just have to do a better job, whether it's Democrat or Republican. I could show you videos of Republicans also that when they give their answers as to why we are where we are with inflation, they say something that's completely ridiculous. So it is kind of like on us for just electing these clowns into the Senate, into the House, where they don't have the experience, they don't have the knowledge to be able to really make the proper decision. So inflation is going to keep being an issue. We keep electing guys like this. I mean, the fact that he tried to blame it on tax cuts for the rich is just dumb. It's just silly and it's untrue. I mean, look, if you could ask 20 different economists why we have inflation at any point in time, or hyperinflation or high inflation at any point in time, you're going to get 20 different answers sometimes. It just depends on where we are in these cycles, right? In these kind of boom or bust cycles. And the answer he gave just told me so much, right? He clearly has absolutely no clue. He didn't say anything about the fact that we've been printing money like crazy over and over again. He didn't talk about the fact that we've been under quantitative easing since 2008 or early 2009. He didn't talk about any of that stuff. So he didn't give us the response that we needed to hear. He has no clue. They're going to keep printing money. Guys like him are going to keep putting laws into place that allow for the currency to keep getting debased more and more because they just don't get it. So anyways, enough of that. Let's talk about Solana. All right, so let's talk about Solana. What I wanted to do is I just kind of came up with this quick little kind of cheat sheet, basically comparing Solana to some of the other L1s in regards to fully diluted market cap. So why did I do this? For a number of reasons, and I'll get to in a second. So before we dive into that, let's just take a quick look at the chart. This is the weekly. This looks pretty damn ugly. Again, it does look like it's completed a lot of its descent, but I think it still may have a ways to go. I really, really do. So yeah, just looking at the weekly, there's just nothing bullish about this whatsoever. If anything, negative momentum starting to wane. And just because the RSI is very low doesn't mean it's not going to keep going much, much lower. As we know with crypto, when RSI is at very low levels, that's when it actually does the most damage. When it's at very high levels, that's when it does the most as far as price discovery. So there is still a lot that can happen that's pretty bad here. Now, real quick, I'm not going to spend too much time on the TA aspect of it, but because I want to dive into something else. But as far as the TA goes, I mean, I can see why someone would think that there's some decent, if we fall from this where we are right now at $12 and change, I think that there is some decent support way down here, close to about $5. So there's a couple different points to reference. One of them could be like right here, and another one around right here, basically telling us that around $5, a little bit over $5 to 448. So 448 all the way to maybe as high as like 544, you'll start seeing some support. So that would probably be the first level support. Maybe that one holds forever. And then as far as TA goes, which other one seems decent? Well, that's when it gets pretty gross. A little bit, from what I saw, was about a little bit over $1, $1.35 it could go to $1.88, no problem if it breaks that support. Keep in mind that a lot of the early investors, they got into Solana at around 20 cents, and that is just some of the private sales. As far as some of the, like, I think it's the seed investors, I can't remember which one, the one that got an even better deal, they may have gotten in at half that price or maybe even less. For all we know, they got in at 1 cent. I don't know. But I know that's the kind of the latter ones as far as pre-sales and all that. Even they got in at 20 cents. So, I mean, they could be selling at freaking $4 and they're still at 40x. I mean, 40x, 20x. So keep that in mind because that is definitely something that you need to keep an eye on. So as far as from a fundamental perspective, you know, how can we maybe take a look at what is going on with this asset or where it's going to go? Well, let's compare it to others. And keep in mind that I came up with these numbers last night before going to bed. So they're all going to be maybe about 2% lower because of this morning's dump. But the first thing I wanted to call out is this. If we were to compare it to, say, something like, I don't know, like a NEAR, for example. NEAR's at 1.7 billion, right? So, and right now Solana is around 7 billion. So if we were to compare it to that, you would have to divide 1.7 divided by 7. That gives you 24%. So if it ends up to where NEAR is right now, you multiply that times the current price, which we'll just go with last night's price. I know it's at a little lower right now, but it's okay. We'll just go with last night's price. We're just trying to get ballpark numbers. This puts us at $3.20. So as you can see, and right now we're going to dive into DeFi Llama and a couple other things that I want to show you. But as you can see, if you compare it to like a NEAR, there is a lot of reason to think that it could be $3.20, right? And that's where NEAR is right now. What if this market goes on for a while and every single one of these fully diluted market caps gets cut by 20, 30, 40%? It could get a lot worse. Now, let's just say worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario, it becomes like a dead chain, right? Or deadish kind of chain, like EOS, for example. EOS is at a little bit under 1 billion in fully diluted market cap. So that would be 1-ish, right? Divided by 7. That gives you 14 cents times 13.21. As you can see here, that would put it at $1.88, which is kind of funny because that is one of the support levels that I had looked at last night. So it could go down as much as $1.88. It could. It wouldn't be the craziest thing. I mean, you know, and EOS has been able to stay at this $1 billion number, which is, you know, lifted up by who knows what. Because I mean, when's the last time you guys talked to someone or met someone that is actually transacting in EOS? I couldn't tell you. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's ever transacted with EOS, or they haven't told me about it. So as you can see, things can get pretty gross. And for it to stay at the 7 billion, I mean, look, Cardano, Matic, Dot, I mean, even Avalanche. I mean, these are chains that they're actually doing, they're doing a lot more in transactions. They're staying a lot more active. Solana is in big trouble. I haven't even talked about the fact that it lost its sugar daddy is what it did with everything that happened with Alameda and FTX. It basically lost its biggest sugar daddies, and that's going to really hurt it from as far as hype goes, as far as marketing, as far as them doing things to entice people to come to the ecosystem. That's gone. So let's take a look at DeFi Llama, and this is actually pretty bad. And if we look at DeFi Llama, you will see that it is its high was way up here at about a little bit over 10 billion. All right, 10 billion in total value locked, and now it's at 290 million. I mean, just absolutely brutal. So brutal. I mean, if you look at an upcoming chain, like for example, like Arbitrum, which is, I know it's an L2, but just making a comparison, even that one's at 3x its total value locked than Solana. 3x. I mean, that is just so bad. If we look at Avalanche, for example, this one has also gotten hit so bad, right? Even that one's at 3x Solana's TVL. So yeah, just looking at that, it's really hard to, it's even, Phantom, which is basically, many people think it's in big trouble if Andre doesn't start really, getting things going. Even though their tech is amazing, they're in big trouble. Even they are at 418 million. So Solana is just not in a good place at all. Total TVL chart just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it's just giving us an idea of what's to come. So as far as Solana goes and what I think will happen as far as price action, like I stated a second ago, I do think that it's going to get a lot worse before it gets any better. These highs right here that we're looking at from back in the day, from when from when things were all sorts of nice up here at 260-ish, that I don't see that ever happening ever again. Ever. Like, I think we can close that door shut. I just don't see a scenario where that happens. I just don't see it. Maybe it will surprise me. This ecosystem will somehow flourish because who knows what happens. Some amazing project gets in there and starts building their ecosystem up. But yeah, I just don't see that happening, and I think Solana could be in big trouble. Do I think it's going to die? No, it's not going to die. And I think, again, that's why I use the example of our friends over at EOS. If EOS is still trading at about 1 billion, then yeah, Solana will probably never get below 1 billion. So I would see that as like the absolute lowest point for Solana is at least 1 billion, but I have a hard time seeing it even get to that level. So even though the TA states that if like that $5 support or 454 support gets broken, then that's the next level support. I just have a hard time seeing Solana get down to those levels. So again, a Solana. Again, if we get the calculator out and just do this again of 1.7 times 1321. Again, these are kind of ballpark numbers. Yeah, I mean, I think this would be the absolute lowest that we would see Solana, and that's assuming it gets down to where EOS is right now, and I have a hard time seeing that happen. So makes me wonder, it does make me wonder if just maybe for Solana, this level over here that we kind of referenced a second ago of about 454 to kind of 550, and maybe that's going to be the level of support that we can count on. So if you are a big fan of this project, if you think that it will make it, and you're trying to figure out what's your best chance at being able to hold on and get these drawings out of the way, being able to find a nice level to buy back into, I would say that's it, 550 to 450, and unfortunately that's it. I mean, there's nothing else to say, and I would say just fundamentally and technically, all the data seems to go that way. So next week, what's to come? What's going to be happening? There's still so much out there that's just bad and unknown. We still don't know how bad the contagion is from this FTX thing. I mean, hell, we're still trying to figure out the contagion from the Luna thing from back in May. But look, just looking at the monthly with BTC, it just looks like we're being, magnetically pulled down to this level of about 13.8. I just feel like that's almost inevitable. And then after that, we'll see. Will 13.8 hold? and then give us some kind of like little, bear market rally. That makes a lot of sense. Can totally happen. But if 13.8 gets sliced through, then yeah, I mean, that's really bad. And then 11.5 to 11.8 becomes the next level of support. So those are the big levels to watch with BTC. So we'll see what happens when we hit 13.8. But 13.8 just seems inevitable. I just have no idea how long it could take. Could it be next week because something horrible happens? I mean, we have DCG still trying to get funding. They need to raise $1 billion. If they don't get that money, what's going to happen? Could that create that huge, horrible red candle that gets us down to 13.8 in like a day? Maybe, I don't know. Or is it just going to be one of those things where it just slowly takes forever and just grinds us all down? Volatility keeps gets grinded down. Sentiment, people psychologically, they get just destroyed little by little, or it just grinds you down. Completely possible. So I think that's where we're going, and I hate to be so bearish. I've had this YouTube channel for almost a year. I've been bearish the whole time because it was what the data stated. I can't wait to be bullish. I can't wait to talk about nice longs to take and to be bullish and excited again about price going up instead of down, but it is what it is, and we have to be patient. With Ethereum, I did want to call this out. I noticed it this weekend, and it's happened quite a bit now. So here we are on a 1 hour, looks pretty obvious. On a 30-minute, looks even more obvious. You can even see it on a 4 hour. But right here, you have 1, 2, 3. Whenever you see these kinds of wicks, the second you see that wick forming, it just seems like we've seen it over and over again, where it gives you a nice opportunity to do a quick scalp short, like a quick one. But you can be kind of aggressive with it because it's very easy to know where to, if it starts going over that after a wick down, then it's time to get out. But it's just presented a lot of really easy scalp shorts. So I did one of those yesterday and it worked out perfectly. I should have just kept it open, and then I would have been able to take advantage of all that. But oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, with Ethereum, the big levels with Ethereum have not changed. Still looking at the next level to be somewhere. Here, the next level would be 1421 on the way up, where you can get bullish on Ethereum. That's not going to happen anytime soon. I think below that, 1220 something. But really, I mean, I see 757 as a high level support if we break this 1,000, right? 1,980 to 1,000. If we break that, and we are going to test that, it's pretty much a given. Just like I said, it's a given that we're going to test 13.8. It's a given we're going to test 1,980. We break that, then kind of 757, I think, is where the next one. And then the one below that is kind of 423 to 375. 420 for the LOLs, but I think 423 to 375 would be the next one. So again, nothing good to talk about there. And that's really about it as far as some of the DeFi projects that I like to cover. I've been covering Buffer Finance. I have some stake there. I think we got in at Buffer when it was like 1.2 million. It's about 1.6 million right now. So it is starting to look pretty bearish again. So if it gets down here to about these levels down here, 15 cents, I will be adding to it, but more like on a flip. And I'm already happy with what I have staked, and I'm going to let it ride for a while. Arbitrum airdrop is coming soon, they say, and when it does, a lot of these assets like Buffer Finance, like GMD, are probably going to do very, very well. GMD, I also got into this asset around 1.2, 1.3 million market cap. It's not 4 million. And I've sold quite a bit of that one just because it was starting to look bearish. And, you got to take profits in crypto. If you're up 3x in crypto, you got to take profits. And then there's, a few of you had asked me, well, what else do you like in Arbitrum? I'm still trying to do more due diligence on it. I have been tracking this one right here because it's the meme coin of Arbitrum, supposedly. It's called Nashib. The problem with this asset is that look at the volume, 23K. And it's usually around 18K. So this volume just sucks. So this asset needs more eyes on it. So I'm not willing to I'm not going to be betting on a meme coin right now with this macro the way it is. And both with everything that crypto's dealing with, there's just no way. So that's about it for today's video. Didn't want to cover too much. It's just not looking good right now, guys. So be very, very safe. I'm tempted to DCA a little right now because you're supposed to, right? I mean, I've been DCAing, and it's funny. It's like I'll be happy with the DCAs I've been doing in a year or two, but right now it's like I keep thinking, man, I wish I didn't DCA. So I haven't really DCA'd this week, and I haven't DCA'd after this fall right now. just because I'm just so certain that BTC is going to 13.8. So I'll probably DCA again then. Ethereum at 1,000, I'll add more Ethereum. But other than that, I'm just gonna watch. Markets are so liquid right now, and I think right now it's better to just be safe. So guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Have a great weekend.